My name is Diana Johnson, 33 years old. As an unmarried woman, I signed up for a dating app on a friend's recommendation. There, I met Michael, who proposed to me, and we became engaged. But my joy was short-lived. He soon said something I never expected. "What? Long time no see, Diana." That day, my fiancé Michael asked me to meet him at a restaurant because he had something to talk about. When I arrived, I found Michael and my older sister Emily, who is 3 years older than me, waiting for me. I had a bad feeling before even hearing what they had to say. And my bad feeling was right. Michael looked at my sister lovingly and then said to me, "I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I want to break off our engagement." "What? What did you just say?" "I've decided to marry her." "So, I can't marry you."
Wait, hold on. I don't get it. You want to break off our engagement because you're marrying my sister? You've got to be kidding, right?
I looked back and forth between their faces as I asked. "I'm serious." After getting to know her, I realized I was wrong. She's the one I want to marry, not you. "What?" "I think it was about a month ago when I met her. I was waiting for you when she asked me for directions. While I was showing her the way, I found out she's your sister. I couldn't believe someone as beautiful as her could be your sister. You two look nothing alike. Emily is undeniably beautiful. I've always been compared to her. People often said, it's a pity you're not as cute as your sister. I was used to being compared to her, but I never felt as humiliated as I did when my fiancé was taken by her. You gave me this engagement ring and promised to cherish me forever. You said we'd be happy together, talked about how many kids we'd have and their names. Was all of that a lie?" He sneered and said, "I meant it at first. I thought it didn't matter if someone wasn't beautiful as long as we got along. But after meeting her, I realized it's better to marry a beautiful woman. She's kind and gentle to everyone, and she's a great cook. Ask any guy, and he'd make the same choice 100% of the time." "What are you saying?" "Come on, Diana, don't be so angry. You're ruining your pretty face." "Huh? Who do you think caused this mess?" "And Emily, you knew he was my fiancé, so why did you approach him?" "Yes, I knew about him from you, but I didn't realize he was your fiancé until after I talked to him. I never thought it would come to this."
Don't lie to me. There's no way it's a coincidence that the person you asked for directions was my fiancé. Why do you insist it's not possible?
There are no absolutes in this world. It's unfortunate for you, but I really didn't mean for this to happen. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Emily put her hands together in a gesture of apology.
Don't mess with me. How could you do this? How could you betray me like this?
I was furious at their attitudes. I forgot we were in a family restaurant and raised my voice.
Hey, cut it out. No matter how much you scream, I will never marry you. You'll be the one embarrassed, yelling like this in public.
What?
And, you probably already know this, but just to make it clear, we're planning to visit your parents soon to announce our marriage. I'm sure they'll call you too, but don't say anything unnecessary at the meeting.
Are you telling me to stay silent about this? They say silence is golden, right? For both our sakes, it's best not to mention this. What the? Well, that's that. It was fun while it lasted. Wait, hold on. We're not done talking. Goodbye, Diana. Looking forward to seeing you at home.
Wait a second.
With that, they left the restaurant together, leaving me behind.
Why did this happen? You promised we'd be happy together, so why with my sister of all people?
Overwhelmed by the cruelty of it all, I broke down in tears right there. I don't know how much time passed, but a man approached me.
Excuse me, are you all right? The store is about to close.
Huh? Looking around, I realized the only people left in the restaurant were me and this man. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll pay and leave right away.
No need to rush. I already took care of the bill.
What? No, you can't let a stranger do that.
I was sitting right behind you and overheard your conversation. I know it's not much, but I wanted to do something to help. I'm sorry if I overstepped.
He must have heard everything, and out of sympathy, he paid my bill. His kind gesture gave me a small bit of strength. However, I never imagined that meeting him would lead to something significant later on. A few days later, my father called. He told me that Emily was bringing her fiancé over and asked me to come home.
Come on, say hello. This is Emily's fiancé, Michael. Michael works at that famous company. He seems very sincere and a good young man. I'm sure Emily will be happy with him. Don't you think, Diana?
Yeah, I guess. My parents didn't know that Michael was my ex-fiancé, or that we had even dated. They seemed very fond of him, especially my father, who looked delighted about their upcoming marriage.
I'm happy for you, Emily.
You look so happy.
Thank you, Diana. Actually, seeing how happy you two are made me want to introduce someone too. Can I call him in?
Someone you want to introduce?
Of course.
We never heard anything about this. Who is he?
Go ahead, bring him in.
My parents were thrilled at my news, but Emily and Michael looked confused. Naturally. Since just a few days ago, I was engaged to Michael. It must have seemed strange to them that I already had someone new to introduce. Come in. When I called out, the person slowly entered the living room. The moment my sister saw his face, her expression changed drastically. I didn't miss that change. Emily, you look pale. Is something wrong?
No.
It's nothing.
Are you sure? Do you know him?
What?
Where did you meet him? What's your relationship?
My sister, with a pale face, asked. I replied to her. A few days ago, you two called me to a restaurant by the station to talk, remember? After that, he approached me. Your boyfriend, Howard.
What?
Boyfriend? What do you mean? Emily's fiancé is Michael, right? Michael was my fiancé until a few days ago. What? They called me to the restaurant to break off our engagement because Michael wants to marry Emily. Michael, is this true? Oh no, there's been a misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding? Then explain this situation.
Well, that's...
Dad, listen. I did date Howard before, but it's over. So, it's not what you're thinking.
Over? You were living together until a few days ago. How is that over? Living together. Emily, you told us you were living alone, but you were actually living with him. He said you were talking about marriage, but then suddenly you left him without warning. That's... When you called me to the restaurant, I noticed you had a lot of luggage. You ran away from his place directly to the restaurant. You can't disappear from one place and show up at your lover's right after. Howard followed you to the restaurant. Isn't that right, Howard? Yes, the person I brought was my sister's boyfriend, Howard. Apparently, she had been living with Howard for a long time but suddenly told him she was leaving and moved out with all her belongings. Suspicious of her actions, Howard followed her and overheard our entire conversation. He then approached me after they left. After hearing the whole story, he said this to me. Would you marry me? What?
Sorry, I didn't mean literally. I meant, would you pretend to be my fiancé and get revenge on them with me?
What do you mean? They said they're gonna visit your parents to announce their marriage soon, right? We'll show up as an engaged couple and expose everything to your parents. They won't expect me to be there, so they'll be shocked when I show up as your fiancé. Judging by their words to keep it secret, the last thing they want is your parents finding out. You don't have to obey their selfish demands. They're the ones at fault. Hearing this, I agreed to his plan. We exchanged contact information and prepared for the meeting.
What's going on, Emily? This is completely different from what you said. Explain yourself. No, it's all lies. I didn't do any of that. They have no proof he's Diana's fiancé or that the engagement was broken off at the restaurant. They're just making baseless accusations out of jealousy because I'm marrying someone from a big company. Even with her boyfriend Howard appearing, my sister still refused to admit what she had done. Howard then presented something to her. I have proof. What's this? A voice recorder. It has the recording of you telling Diana at the restaurant that you were breaking off the engagement. Why do you have something like that? To be honest, I suspected you had someone else before you packed your things and left. So, I bought a voice recorder to gather evidence. On that day, I followed you with this recorder. I thought you were going to meet your other lover. But I never imagined it would be Michael. What? You knew him? Yes, I didn't tell Diana, but he's an acquaintance of mine. He should know me too, right, Michael? When Howard entered the living room, I was focused on my sister's reaction, but I noticed Michael was also pale and looking down. I wondered why, but now it made sense. He was embarrassed because he knew Howard. But what kind of relationship do you have? He's a sales rep from a company we do business with. You knew him? Well, sort of. I've seen him before. Just seen him? What are you talking about? You frequently visit our company. You were there just the other day, right? Why are you acting like this? That's... Anyway, why did you lie? Lie? I overheard your conversation before Diana called me in. You said you worked for Company A, but actually, you work for Company B. They might sound similar, but there's a huge difference in their reputation and performance. What? What did you say? Oh, so even Diana didn't know? No, I didn't. He told me he worked for A-Star when we met, so I believed him without any doubt. Did he show you any proof, like an employee ID? Yes, he did. We saw it too. What did it look like? It was a piece of paper like a regular business card with his photo, name, and department. That's the same as what we saw. I see. That's not A-Star employee ID. Their IDs are plastic cards with an IC chip for access control. What he showed you wouldn't work there. Why did you fake an ID to pretend to be an employee there, Michael? Michael looked down, his face red. This is a lie, right? Why are you silent? Did you deceive me? No, I didn't. Then why? I couldn't tell you. What? I met Diana through a dating app. But on those apps, people judge you by your job. I thought no one would be interested in me if they knew I worked for Bullstar. So, I lied about working for A-Star, planning to tell the truth later. But then I got engaged to Diana, and when I met her sister, I couldn't tell the truth. So, it dragged on until now. I had no choice. Apparently, Michael lied to make himself look better, and now he claimed it was unavoidable. Hearing this, my sister got furious. She said something outrageous. Don't be ridiculous. I only approached you because you said you worked for A-Star. What did you just say? Oh. So you did know he was my fiancé when you approached him? No, that's not what I meant. If that's not what you meant, then what did you mean? Well, that is. You can't make excuses now, you just admitted it yourself. Yes, I knew he was your fiancé. You bragged about him working there, so I wanted to see what kind of guy he was. I wasn't bragging. You, who never had a boyfriend for 33 years, couldn't possibly be dating someone from a big company like that. I thought he was lying to you. But when I found out he really worked there, I decided to take him from you. But you had Howard, who you were living with. She then glanced at Howard and sneered. Yes, Howard was kind and fun to be with. But that's all. You need money to get married. What do you mean? He works at an electronics store. An electronics store? Yes. I expected more since he went to grad school,
but he works at a store even high schoolers could work at. It was such a disappointment. But living alone is expensive, and he suggested we live together until I found someone better. He acted all proud, saying he works with big clients, but even a small company job is better than his low-paying electronics store job. Howard looked pensive at her words. "Howard," I called out to him. "You're seriously mistaken about something." "Huh? What are you talking about?" "Yes, I work at an electronics store, but not the kind that sells TVs or refrigerators." "Then what?" "I work at A-Star." "What?" "But the company name." "It is just a common name. The official name is different and includes the word electronics, which is why you thought I worked at a regular store." "No." So, it was Howard who actually worked at A-Star Electronics, not Michael. I could describe my company ID in detail because I have one. "Here, look." Howard showed his real company AID. "No way. Did you make this yourself too? You can't make something like this on your own. Making an IC card ID is impossible for an ordinary person." "But why didn't you tell me you worked there?" "What? I mean, you never told me you didn't work at an electronics store and instead at A-Star. I thought you understood. I didn't think you'd confuse the name with a regular store. That's why I never specifically said, I work at A-Star. If I hadn't tried to steal my sister's fiancé and stayed with you, well, I might have married you because I liked you. But now, I will never marry you. After hearing what you really think about me and seeing how you can betray your own sister, I can't imagine building a happy home with you." My sister was at a loss for words. If she hadn't chased after money and other men, she might have had a happy family by now. Realizing the happiness she lost, she went crazy. She glared at me and said, "This can't be happening. You knew he worked there, didn't you? You approached him on purpose because I took Michael from you." "What are you talking about?" "Like I said earlier, I met him after you two broke off our engagement, and I just found out he works at A-Star." "I don't believe you. It's a lie. Give me back my boyfriend." At that moment, "Enough!" My father's angry shout echoed through the room. "What do you mean, give him back? He was never yours to begin with." "But, Diana, are you in any position to yell at Diana? You went after your sister's fiancé just because he worked at a big company. And now you accuse her of stealing your ex when you find out he's rich? Have some shame." "But." "No buts. How old are you? This is all your own doing. Stop blaming others." "And you, Michael. How could you go after your fiancé's sister and lie about everything? What were you thinking?" "Well, When Emily brought you home, I thought you were a sincere young man. I was happy you were joining our family. But now, to find out it was all a lie? You thought you could tell the truth later? Don't be ridiculous. If you can lie so easily before marriage, how can you expect to be a trustworthy husband for decades?" "Well, but I won't stop you anymore. Marry Emily or break up, I don't care. But first, take responsibility for what you've done." "Responsibility." At that moment, my father handed them an envelope. Inside were the documents for claiming damages from them. My father must have guessed what was in the envelope I had. When they saw the documents, they were shocked. "Damages? Why? And such an amount? Why do you think? You caused the breakup by cheating. Only married couples can claim damages for cheating. We weren't married, just engaged. Didn't you know? You can only claim damages for an engaged partner's cheating if you've met each other's parents or booked the wedding. We didn't do any of that. No one even knew we were engaged, so you can't claim damages." Emily, who had been pale, nodded at Michael's words. But I was prepared for this argument. You, who were speechless just a moment ago, now have a lot to say. "What?" I wasn't speechless. I knew you'd bring this up. Huh? Michael is right, we didn't meet each other's parents or book the wedding. So, it's hard to claim damages for cheating. Then why? But look at this. I showed him the ring shining on my left ring finger. This is the matching engagement ring you gave me when you proposed. Our initials and the proposal date are engraved inside. I don't know what you did with your ring, but this proves that our engagement was official. So, I can claim damages from you for breaking the engagement due to your cheating. To claim damages for cheating between engaged couples, certain conditions must be met. These include having met each other's parents or having booked a wedding venue, essentially proving that people around them recognized the engagement. You knew that without proof of engagement, you couldn't be charged damages. That's why you could confidently list the conditions. You must have looked it up beforehand, anticipating a claim. Well, but it seems you overlooked this ring. The ring you gave me, promising to cherish me forever, ironically serves as proof, making you responsible. With that, I formally demanded damages from the two of them. Although they initially resisted, they eventually agreed to pay the damages, albeit grudgingly. On the other hand, since Howard and my sister weren't engaged, he couldn't claim damages from them. However, we weren't engaged, so I couldn't claim damages. But seeing you confidently present those documents to them at the restaurant that day felt incredibly satisfying. That was enough for me. Thank you for going along with my revenge plan. He smiled warmly. A few months later. Because of what happened, Howard and I started dating with marriage in mind. One day, he told me something about Michael. There's been a change at work. A change? Remember I told you Michael was our company's representative? Recently, another employee came instead. What? Apparently, he felt so uncomfortable facing me that he begged another employee to take over. He didn't explain the real reason, of course. Michael had managed to get another employee to take over his responsibilities, avoiding Howard. The new representative told me Michael has a terrible reputation at work. He dumps tedious tasks on others but snatches any opportunity that could lead to a promotion. He insisted on handling our account but suddenly passed it off, which destroyed his credibility. Rumor has it he's next in line for a layoff. The rumor was true, Michael was fired for his poor work attitude. As for my sister, who made the wrong choices driven by greed. She's been telling our mutual acquaintances that her sister stole her rich fiancé from a big company. She desperately wants to make me look like the bad guy. But I'm grateful to her. Because of those two, I found a wonderful person I can truly trust.